Welcome back, everyone. Going into Court of Swords, hour 2 here of week 18, I believe.
It is.
Adam, what's up?
So, Baya Monastery. Now we've seen this in kind of long shots from a distance. We know that this is where Azure Vortex originally came from, where she brought the Stone of Wind into her hermitage. We're seeing the inside of the monastery for the first time. So when I say monastery, it's not one like big wooden building. There's a large stone wall, ancient stone wall around it, and there's essentially like a town inside. And you can imagine basically like a Tibetan, like a Buddhist monastery, quite rocky terrain, several buildings, some higher up, some lower down, and then populated predominantly by monks. So lots of folks dressed. In the same clothes that we saw Azure Vortex wearing. Depending on their elemental alignment, they'll be wearing different colors of like robes, and then also some of the sort of lay populace, workers, people who are working in the market. There isn't there aren't really guards of which to speak. We don't see anyone kind of like walking around in armor wearing weapons. The doors are open. You're coming from the Court of Coins, and they don't have a sort of a heavy security here. So we get this establishing shot as we follow the three of you in through the main gates and into the monastery itself. Now, the monastery is, as I said before, innumerably ancient, right? It's been around a long time. It's said to predate the courts themselves. It was founded by supposedly like a chosen of the emperor. And has been here for as long as humans basically have in this region. Now, I wanna know. So, How are you dressed, Volnak? Are you from the Court of Coins, or do you come from one of the other courts? Do you belong to the same monastic tradition as these people, or?
Yeah, I think he's dressed in kind of robes that would kind of mirror the Court of Coins. Like he comes from the Court of Coins initially, when he was of his earthly form more. But now he's just wearing something reminiscent of that. Like it's his own kind of robes that he's, I guess, either had made or made himself.
And are your robes are your robes like out of fashion? Are you wearing like robes that are like older of a different dynasty, or are you like kind of up to date?
Yeah, I think his are a bit older in terms of like what people wear nowadays, but they're simple. They're nothing like too crazy. But if someone were to know, like, say, the way robes used to be, like,
Sure. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hold
It,
on a
it,
sec.
it's not easy to tell like why necessarily you're dressed, but like the other there's probably you walk by a group of monks that kind of like give you a side eye like what, why, okay, that's odd.
We don't wear that.
But the other thing to keep in mind about this place is that it is compared to the sort of the dark kind of clinging gargoyle that was Mung Vuat on the southern side of the valley. um, uh, Baya is beautiful above and beyond anything else, right? Like it's consistently been repainted over time. All of the wood is sort of like bright orange color that they use in the temples. There's a cloth of gold hanging from the windows. Everything is like well kept and beautiful here. It's a prosperous place. Um, and so the three of you enter into this bustling monastery. There's a lot of people around, but it has a kind of peaceful feeling to it, or it did before the PCs showed up. We'll see how long that lasts. So where do you go? What do you want to do? You've been on the road for several days traveling. You've finally reached the monastery. There is this undercurrent, this sense of tension. Maybe you look out as you enter the monastery. You look out over the valley, and while it is peaceful and mist shrouded, there is this sense of something darker lurking in the woods of the Shulin Valley. Where do you begin? What do you do?
So this isn't necessarily like this is just kind of a place we're starting out at. Like we're not really coming to this monastery because there's treachery afoot in this monastery itself.
No, I mean the monastery. You'd assume that there are monks here, and part of the mandate of all of the sort of religious forces in the world is to keep an eye out for the Mara, to protect humanity from them. So if there is something weird going on, they're going to be the ones that are the most familiar with it. But the Mara are subtle, and so they may not realize what's happening in the valley. So it's entirely kind of up to you to determine.
All right, I think Volnak kind of motions towards like looks towards Raziel and says, "Well, you're the one connected to the Mara. Do you feel anything? Where do we go?"
When Volnak says that, Raziel, you swear somebody nearby is like staring at you and like hears him say it, but then they move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I look back with like, I thought I told you to never speak their name. Surely you have learned that.
Be careful throwing around their name.
He understands it. Why can't you?
My apologies.
I point towards the inn and say, perhaps we should get a room. I need to speak to... And I kind of start walking towards the towards the inn. And maybe I turn around and like snap my fingers.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Raziel heads off. Lord Hackett leaves for the inn. So I presume you follow him, Lord Hackett, you arrive outside the inn. The inn, like the rest of this place, is an ancient stone structure. There's several stories. You can smell food and tea kind of like wafting from inside. Certainly better than the food you've had on the road because y'all have been eating rations for the last few days. So you can smell like steamed pork and hot and sour soup coming from inside. There are people sitting around outside drinking tea, playing mahjong, and talking and laughing. It's a fairly sort of peaceful scene. And when you approach, and no one seems to really take notice of you.
Okay. Yeah, I walk straight up to the innkeeper and put coin on the table and say, a room, please.
Sure. Yeah, the innkeeper's a jovial older man. He's carrying a half dozen like steam trays, those little like wooden sort of like bamboo steaming trays, and he's trying to get past a crowd of people to deliver them when he bumps into you and he sees you've got coins in your hand, and he laughs and he says, "Please wait by the door. I'm very busy today. I will come and attend to you in a moment." And he kind of like squeezes past you and starts handing out these trays of like steam buns.
Okay.
And then he makes his way. You can watch him circuit through the room. He picks up teacups, and by the time he gets back to you, he's got a tray in his hand covered in ceramic, little ceramic cups, most of them empty. And he looks you up and down and says, "A man of means, come so far out to the valley. Come with me." And he gestures, and he looks past you and sees the other two, and he's like, "Do you have bags outside? Your servants can bring them in."
I laugh under my, like, I don't audibly laugh. I just kind of like giggle a little bit, maybe.
You kind of smirk.
Yeah, smirk and turn towards the two of them and say, "Do we have bags outside?"
We travel light.
None that I can see, master.
Fair enough. No bags. And I grab one of the things that he was passing around. Maybe take a big bite of it.
Yeah.
Walnut kind of smiles like as he says master.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he says we have many rooms. Will you be needing a private room, or do you just want to sleep among the rest?
A private room if you have one.
Yeah. He nods. Of course. A little bit more coin, but you obviously can afford it, my lord. And he takes down a key from his little wall of keys. He takes one down and hands it to you. And he says, 4th floor. I gave you a room overlooking the valley. It's beautiful in the morning. Don't sleep in. Don't drink too much. And he like winks at you, and he says, would you like me to bring you dinner?
We could take care of dinner ourselves. Thank you very much. I grab the key. Say, we'll be off now.
Yeah, he nods and he turns and he shouts something to the kitchen as he walks over to it, And he goes from this like jovial like look with you to when he turns the kitchen, he just like starts shouting, and not in like an angry way, but he totally switches demeanors. His like customer service face goes off, and he turns into like angry chef mode and goes into the back. You can hear him yelling and pots clattering and stuff.
Okay.
I like him.
Yeah, I start to walk upstairs to the 4th floor, and put the key in the room, and open it up.
Okay. All right. So you head up to the 4th floor, and at each level as you go up, so you're going up a set of sort of wooden stairs that ascend each of the levels, and the whole middle of the sort of tea house is open. There's these wooden balconies that have been built onto the stone of the outside. You can feel the sort of lived inness of this place. The banister is the kind of smooth that wood only becomes after hundreds of years of being touched by weary hands. The steps bend in the middle from, again, centuries of booted feet climbing these stairs. There's a history just to this inn alone that you can feel in every surface. And when you reach the 4th floor, it gets quieter as you go up, right? Because the first 2 floors are like people sitting and drinking and talking, and then you get to the kind of common room floor, and then the higher up you get, the quieter it is. And when you reach the 4th floor, you come out onto the landing, and you see a dwarven woman, and she is like pulling on the door to her room and like cursing to herself softly in Dwarvish, and she hasn't noticed you like come up the stairs yet.
Do you need help, madam?
So she starts and she curses in surprise. None of you all speak Common and Celestial, right?
Yep.
In Primordial.
She says something rude in Dwarvish, but not at you, not like fuck you, but like like she's startled, and she turns, and her
Actually, I speak Dwarvis.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. So yeah, she says like it's like Earth's beard, and like staggers back and turns to you, and she like kind of like brushes her beard down, and you can hear it like jingling. She's got little like bits of silver hanging in it. And so she like kind of like composes herself, and she turns to look at you and sees the 3 of you, and she smiles and like blushes a little, and she's like, well, I mean, I'm sure I can handle it myself, but who am I to say no to a handsome stranger? The door seems stuck. Could you?
I apologize for startling you, madam, but it would be an honor for me to open the door for you.
Can I, before he does that, can I like just to see any sort of insight into whether or not this is actually her room?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, insight.
Woo.
Not bad. Not a bad roll for Max.
17?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean there's a key in the lock. And the door does seem stuck. She does seem to be in kind of a hurry to get in there, but you don't get the impression that she's breaking into the room and is going to try to pin it on you or anything.
Mm-hmm. I guess getting this feeling from her, just like, you seem distressed, madam. Is anything wrong?
She kind of sighs and she says, hello, and she looks at Azrael and then at you, and then at Raziel, and she kind of just like dramatically like pretends to fan herself. She's like, 3 handsome men in one afternoon. No, I'm fine. A little embarrassed. I have some wares in my room that I'm meant to sell this evening, and I got distracted. This place has got me turned around. I don't think I've been outdoors as long as I have. I'm boring you. I'm fine. Thank you, though. So Azrael, the door is indeed like stuck. It just seems to like it's old and it's a bit swollen. So it's like stuck in the frame a little bit.
So I'll put my shoulder against it and try to shove it open.
And give it a push. Okay, yeah. I don't think you have to roll. You're quite strong. So yeah, you give it a push and the door opens, and she claps her hands and kind of like laughs delightedly. And she says, thank you so much, and looks into the room. You can kind of see into her room, and it's like kind of a mess. Like there's stuff everywhere, mostly like clothing, like bolts of cloth, clothing in various states, finished or unfinished. And you notice a bunch of tailors, like dress forms, kind of standing in the room, made out of wood and fabric.
Are you a tailor, madam?
She like curtsies, and I think now you notice the sort of finery of her clothes. She's wearing a. Have you traveled much, Azrael? Have you like wandered the world?
Mostly just wilderness, not so much cities.
Okay, all right. So you notice there's a foreignness to her clothing. It's not a sort of traditional dress either of her people. You've maybe seen dwarves before. They favor like sort of blocky kind of military cut outfits. But there's something like flowy to her clothes that you notice right away, even being sort of unschooled in world culture as you are. She does a little curtsy and nods to you, and she says, I am by trade, by hobby as well, I suppose.
Oh, have you? What name do you go by for your works? Do you have a brand name?
She blushes and shakes her head. She says, "No, I have no store. Just getting started, you see. Part of and." She kind of like looks at you like she's about to have to explain something like uncomfortable or like doesn't want to have to explain it. You sense a moment of like hesitation.
Oh, I'm sorry, madam. Didn't mean to pry. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want.
She smiles and she's like, handsome and polite. You gentlemen wouldn't happen to be free for dinner this evening, would you?
Did I mention I took a vow of celibacy?
Cut that right off.
She looks at you for a moment without breaking stride. She's like, "Oh, that's a shame," and then turns to look at Volnak and is like, "Well, you have to eat, don't you?"
Yes, that's correct, but I'm also very weary from my travels. I'm afraid I don't have time for frivolity tonight.
She says, "Well, that's a shame. Frivolity I always find to be so relaxing, but I'll be here all week."
Perhaps what you have in mind is a little less relaxing, madam.
She laughs and she nods and she's like, "Relaxing isn't the way I would word how I do it." And she like winks at you.
As I suspected.
So she says, I'm going to be in the monastery all week. I have several meetings, but it looks like we're neighbors. And she like looks past you at the room that you're kind of headed towards.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, madam, would you happen to know who's in charge here?
In charge? What do you mean?
Like the leader of this monastery, if there is a leader or figurehead.
She nods. Yes. Stolid old coot. Though you won't hear me say that in wider company. They call him Golden Wisdom. He's the High Abbot. I think he's as old as the monastery itself.
Hi, Abbot.
Oh man.
That's all I can think of. Anyways.
Well, thank you, madam. Hope you can get into your room and enjoy the rest of your evening. We have things to do today.
Did you help her into her room, or were you not able to?
I opened the door.
No, you opened the door. Okay. All right. As we're leaving, just to play around with new characters, I want to use Awakened Mind and telepathically speak to her. She's never heard me talk, so she doesn't know this is me saying this. She doesn't know that I have this voice.
Sure. So Awaken Mind is a spell?
It's just a class ability.
Nice.
Yeah, you can telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You don't need to share a language, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language.
Are you invading her mind?
Something like that.
All right. Yeah, sure.
And I will say, and maybe I'm like staring at her, but I don't. So I'm looking towards her and I say, if you hear screams in the middle of the night, do not worry, do not be afraid. Nothing will harm you. And then I like give her like a smile and a nod.
Right, and she doesn't know it's coming from you. You just follow it up with the smile and the nod.
Yeah.
Okay, so Azrael and Volnak, you see her pale a little and like kind of like widen her eyes and like look around. And
We
then,
obviously don't. We don't know that he's doing this, or do we have any
No.
sort of sense?
yeah, no. And then she kind of laughs nervously and like covers her face. And she looks into her room. She's like, yes, I should get to work. Nice meeting you, gentlemen. And
Good.
And you as
Adam.
well.
turns
Yeah.
to go into her room.
I kind of like bow and say, let's see if our room is any better. I go and put the key in the door.
Okay. Yeah. So your room is a like a suite, basically. It's got several smaller rooms, big enough for the three of you. And there are wooden shutter windows, basically on all of one side, that are currently open. They're letting in the sort of fall sunlight. And it's a little chilly in the room, but it's got its own little like fireplace, and there are mats and like futon basically that you can sleep on. And the room itself, I think, there's some like minimal like decoration. There's a small stone statue, again worn down, especially on the top and sort of front by many hands over the centuries, of what looks like a kind of a raccoon maybe. And it's sitting up on its haunches, and it's wearing a little like rice farmer's hat and holding a bell in one hand. And it's sitting by the door. So it's kind of meant as like a door, like a prop for the door. And then there's also a painting on one wall opposite the window, and it's faded by years of sunlight. But you can make out what look like a flock of cranes flying over a river.
Okay. I probably like open the door, push the door open, hold the door, wait for them to come in, and then immediately like shut it, lock it, and then, so exhausting traveling like that. I turn to Volnak and say, I'm so sorry for treating you the way I did out there. I was simply keeping appearances.
I understand.
But please do not mention the name. I've seen many people hurt by that. I do not wish it on you.
Part of me wish they would appear.
My eyes like widen and I say, you should never wish for such a thing.
Trust me, you do not want them to appear.
You talk as if I've never encountered them before. Huh.
Have you encountered them before?
We'll see.
I have. I just don't want to tell you about it.
I go over and throw my bag on one of the. How many are there? Enough beds in here?
Yep.
Yeah, I throw my bags on there and take off my blonde wig and put it in the bag, and you see long dark hair come out. I kind of just like start changing into my normal garb and turn to Volnak and say, I hate to ask this of you, but I need a sacrifice. It's been many days since I have spoken with him, and I need to do so tonight.
Come again? I was admiring this wonderful painting. Look at the crepes.
I'd say a sacrifice. Small feline, a chicken, something that breathes and has blood.
Must you?
I turn to Azrael and I say, you know I have to do this. I'm not doing it out of my own
Trying not
interest.
to listen.
I will make sure that you do not see it.
Yeah, like we've been watching Raziel and Volnak for this conversation. When we pan over to Azrael, what are you doing? Are you just like white knuckles on the windowsill, or?
I'm looking out the window at the valley, admiring it, and still in armor because I don't ever let my guard down. I don't feel comfortable even in this nice suite, because at any moment you never know. Because I spent so much time alone, you always have to be alert when you're alone. So I'm just sitting there looking out the window, trying to ignore what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I-
Did you essentially ask me to get you a sacrifice?
Yes, and then I maybe after we like peer over and look at Azrael, I say, I'd go and fetch it myself, but I can't go out like this. And if people see a noble walking around, they're going to ask questions. With someone like yourself, you're just making dinner.
Why don't you just order one from the man downstairs? I'm sure he'd be happy to supply it.
You want me to just order a cat?
A chicken, perhaps? Something for dinner?
Yes, the
He doesn't
old
know your
get
dietary
live chicken
restrictions.
request. I'm sure
I turn and look. Do we have a kitchen in this?
No, there wouldn't. This would just be a room for like resting and
I turn again to Volnak and say, well, I would love to simply just order a chicken. We have no place to cook it.
There was a market. Maybe we could buy one.
Perhaps you
always-
just like chickens. Helps you sleep in the night.
I say, Azrael, always so smart. Just simply go to the market. I will prepare what needs to be prepared. You know this must be done.
Yes, but I know I'm not the one that always needs to do it.
That's true. And in the past, I have always prepared and obtained the sacrifices myself, but we are in a town that I am not known. I do not want to raise any questions. Simply get in, get out.
So you're still wishing me to go get you a chicken?
I have not wished anything else but only a chicken. Or a cat multiple times. You may not even need to go to the market for a cat. You can find it in an alley.
What about the dwarf lady? She seemed eager to please.
I turn and say, do you think she has chickens?
I saw her room. There were no animals in there.
No animals in the dwarven lady's
What say
room.
you about this, Azrael? You've been mighty quiet.
Perhaps we should sacrifice the dwarven lady. Now, while we're at it,
I kind of like scratch my chin and say,
We're
much too
not
big a sacrifice.
Sacrificing
that
the
was a
dwarven
joke.
lady.
Don't even think about it.
Well, I mean, you're right. And I once again like turn my head towards Volnak. Say, so?
I think you can do this on your own.
I like look down and I have like
I will go get the damn animal.
I start like maybe just describing like all the reasons I can't. And I say, thank you, Azrael. I appreciate it. I will make sure that you need something in the future. I will fetch it for you.
I whispered about her. Give me strength. Give me strength.
Say, will
So
you
how-
at least accompany him, Volnak? Or will you stay with me here?
Any time away from you right now before a sacrifice is wonderful.
Fantastic. I will need the room.
So
I guess then
we'll head
motion
out
to
to
the door.
the market.
Okay. All right. So, Raziel, you're staying in the room.
Yeah, I think as they leave, I'm going into my bag to get chalk, and I start making a large circle on the ground and start inscribing runes on the ground for the summon later.
Cool. Okay. All right. So Azrael and Volnak, you head out into the inn, and it's in reverse as you leave the sort of relatively placid space of your room. The faint mountain air kind of blowing through the room. As soon as you step out, the air is immediately like damp and rich with the smell of food wafting up from below. I think Volnak, you feel your stomach gurgle in hunger. And you can hear the sounds of like joyous conversation and laughter coming up from below as you descend down the wooden stairs into the tea house proper. And again, when you initially first kind of enter the room, you get a couple of glances your way. People tend to notice when you enter the room, and then they look away and continue their conversations. As you head out, there's a particularly raucous game of mahjong happening. When as you walk by, someone slams a tile on the table and shouts in delight, having obviously won the game. The people that he's playing with all kind of turn in disgust, and he stands up and kind of like drunkenly bumbles into you, Volnak, and he puts his hands up and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Father. I was just so excited." He points at the table and there's a little pile of coins, and he grabs a couple of them and he like presses them kind of awkwardly like into your hand, and he's like, an offering to the gods for my good luck. And his friends are all grumbling like, "Oh, it's not good luck, you're a cheater, blah blah." And he's looking at you like he's just like so thankful that he just won a bunch of money.
That's not necessary. You can keep them. And I hand them back.
And he looks at his friends and he's like, "A monk that doesn't want the offering. Now I've seen everything." And they all like laugh. And the one of the other players is like, "You should spend it on wine. Nothing holier than wine." And he's like, "That's a good idea." And the two of them go off to the bar to use this money to buy a jug of wine for the table. Cool. All right. So you wanna continue out and head into the world?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. So all three of you should have inspiration charged now. We've learned some things about your characters so far. So make sure you mark that.
Yeah.
So we cut to the market, and the market, as with the rest of the place, is bustling. There's someone leading an ox up a long stone path, dragging a cart full of freshly cut wood from the forest. You can see there are people selling jewelry. Mostly, I think the objects here are of like a religious nature. So they're like prayer wheels and iron and brass bells, scrolls, calligraphy, ink, that sort of thing. But also, of course, like food. And I think that you find without too much trouble a cart. There's an old woman sitting in front of a huge stack, maybe 20 tall, of chicken cages, little wooden chicken cages. And there's all these big like white and brown chickens just kind of clucking and flapping away. There's feathers all over the floor. And she's sitting on a tall stool. Like the stool's almost as tall as she is, so she's got perched on top of it, and she's got little very scratched like reading glasses on, and is knitting. I think when you walk up.
In the immediate area, do I see like any sort of other like, I don't know, public places? Like there might be like an inn or a bathroom or a bar or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, adjacent to the marketplace, there would be like several workshops, places where the folks that come to the like the more craft intensive stuff around here. And then there's probably like a gambling parlor or something. Gambling isn't in this world. It isn't necessarily like an unholy act. The setting isn't based on a sort of Christian mythos of like sin. So like gambling can be seen as a holy act of sort of throwing your luck into the hands of the gods, and it's enjoyed pretty much in all of the courts.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a little like gambling parlor nearby. I think you can hear the sounds of tiles clacking and people shouting both in dismay and victory from that area, and it's like across the way.
Yeah. I say to Ezreal, I'll be like, I'll be right back. It's been a while since I've seen a gambling hall. But I just walks over that way and says like, also I need to use the restroom. And also that's how you RP yourself into a bathroom break.
Yeah. Awesome.
Fine, I will buy the chicken. Hello, madam.
Okay, so you walk over and and the old woman without dropping a stitch kind of glances up at you over her glasses, and her eyes are all like kind of roomy and milky. She probably can't really see you very well. She kind of like looks over and she says, "Chicken?"
Yes, madam. I'm in search of a chicken, but I have a special request. Do you have one that is near death or not very healthy?
She shakes her head like wildly. She's like, no, all my chickens are very healthy, strong, fat, good meat, or eggs if you want. Chickens make them.
Yeah, okay. Well, I need a chicken. Okay, how much is a chicken?
She like looks up at you, kind of looks you up and down. It's like 5 silver pieces.
Surely these can't be worth any more than 3.
She kind of squints at you. She's like, 4.
There you go for 3.5 in the Court of Coins.
Well, we are not in the Court of Coins. These are the only chickens in all the land. 6 silver pieces.
You said 4.
Did I? I'm so old, I must have forgotten. 6.
4.
Okay, 4.
All right, I hand her 4 silver pieces.
Okay. She takes them and deposits them into a pouch and gestures at the wall of chickens behind her, and she says, "You may have any chicken you like."
I want to try to find one that's kind of like looks like it's not very healthy because it's like going to die anyways.
Make a nature check to choose the sickest chicken.
Okay. A roll you never expect to make. Right. Nature.
Oh, not bad.
Oh, damn.
All right. Yeah. So as promised, like these chickens are quite well fed. They're plump and healthy looking. But you could find there's a chicken among them and is maybe like less so. It would be a fine chicken in any of the farms in this land, but of all of her chickens, you find the sort of weakest chicken, I suppose.
I point at him and tell Volnak to grab that one.
You're right. Yeah, Volnak. So you
That
walk
time,
out.
Volnak's like walked. You wouldn't believe the smell in there. Have you found a chicken?
Yes. Can you please? I paid for it already. Grab that one right there.
How much did you pay?
4 silver. She wanted 5.
Silver.
Yeah, she wanted 5.
Wow. And he looks directly at the old lady like, these must be wonderful chickens.
She nods. It's like, yes, all my chickens are very good. You want to buy one?
No,
Only
I don't think
better
so.
than
I
one
think one will
chicken.
suffice.
It's 2 chickens. Buy
Why
3,
did
I'll
you
give
say-
you a deal.
2 chickens.
She nods. Or 3. You're both big, strong men. You need to eat. Buy some chickens.
No, I think 1 will do. I do like chicken, but I think tonight I want some steamed rice and steamed buns. It's been a while.
If you want steamed buns, talk to the dwarf lady.
Right. She wanted you more than anyone.
She had the look about her.
Yes. Anyways, which chicken was it again?
Point to the one on the bottom right.
Yeah, this kind of like a vaguely disinterested looking chicken. All the others are kind of like flapping around in the cages, and this one is just sort of staring out into space.
And there's just like an awkward silence as I just stand there and look at the chicken and look at him, look at the chicken, and wait for him to do something.
Grab.
You said you were going to get the chicken.
I said I would buy the chicken, not that I would bring the chicken. You grab it.
Are you allergic?
It's kind of hard to grab a chicken in this armor.
He's embarrassed. He's allergic. He doesn't want to talk about it. We're getting this chicken for a friend, you see. Just like you grab it and like put it in, like a bag or whatever, in case.
Yeah, you grab it by the legs. It's alive,
Yeah.
so you carry it by the legs. So you open the cage, and immediately the chicken like bursts into action and like flaps past you and tries to like escape, like clucking and flapping. And what are you gonna do? The chicken like rushes out of the cage and tries to get away from you.
I hold it steadier and try to calm it.
I was gonna say you gotta try and grab it. You didn't even open the cage
didn't
and it
grab
just like burst out and didn't get a chance to grab it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even get a chance to grab it.
No, I mean you could try to grab it.
You had to buy the feistiest of all these chickens.
Yeah. Chicken just bursts into action. What are you gonna do? It's gonna get away.
I grab it. I had reaction. I try to just grab it right away.
Grab that chicken. All right.
Fucking chicken.
Make a
Action music. Bum 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 bum. Like, oh shit!
yeah. Roll initiative against the chicken. No. Here we'll make an opposed. We'll make an opposed roll. I'll roll for the chicken, and you can roll athletics to grab the chicken. I guess athletics is strength. You're doing dexterity. This is how fast you are. Make a dexterity save.
Oh yeah, there.
Yeah.
I'm very good.
Okay. So let's see. This is it's a fast chicken. Let's see what
God
happens.
fucking damn it!
The chicken just barely escapes your grasp. So you lunge out to grab the chicken. The chicken is like, "Wah!" And like you get a handful of grayish feathers as the chicken like runs out into the market, like clucking and flapping its wings, trying to escape. The old woman looks up at you, Volnak, and then looks at Azrael and is like, "Better catch that chicken."
Azrael sees it running away and runs after it to grab it as best as he can.
All right, make a dexterity save.
Okay.
God, our skills are being put to real good use.
Oh yeah. One tough chicken.
All right. So the chicken evades you. You like rush to grab it. You're too weighed down by your armor. You like lunge out, and the chicken is just like "Wah!" Like jumps out of your hands and runs off into the market, clucking and making loud noises. The old woman is just sitting there like trying not to laugh and like knitting, making her scarf.
What do you do to these chickens that they want to get away from you so much?
Don't ask. Can I make a perception check to try to hear where the chicken is clucking?
Yeah, definitely.
Follow it.
Totally. Yeah. Make your perception check, and then you can point Volnak in the direction of the chicken.
Okay. 9.
9. Okay. I think it's making enough of a ruckus, and like you can see people being like, "Whose chicken is this?" and like people getting confused. And yeah, you just see the chicken like beelining it down the street as people kind of like part and are like, "Oh, what the hell is chicken?" That's like
Volnak sees this and just like, this is ridiculous. It's just goes,
There is our foe.
2 gold, whoever catches that damn chicken.
Never let a foe get the better of you. We must hunt it down.
It's a chicken, I don't care.
It insulted our honor.
All right. So you shout like
I do, yeah. Whoever gets that. Actually, no, I said 1 gold. I said 1 gold.
bounty of gold to whoever stops that chicken.
1 gold to whoever catches that chicken.
All right. Okay.
Just,
Well,
just a hefty amount. It's more than we paid.
This is the crowd versus the chicken. So the chicken got a 13. So I'll give the crowd a roll, and I'll give them advantage because there's a bunch of them. So a bunch of people like go after the chicken. So this is the first roll. All right. Someone in the crowd scoops the chicken up, manages to grab them, and when you come through the crowd, we see, as an audience, we would see like an eerily familiar person holding the chicken. So he's wearing robes similar to the monk's robes you've seen everyone else wearing. His are black. He's got steel like bracers. He's got bare feet on, even though it's quite cold out. His head is shaved, and he has a series of marks, either tattoos or something like etched on his forehead. He's obviously a monk, but his facial features, we recognize right away that he's siblings, like maybe even twins, with Azure Vortex. No, obviously you wouldn't recognize that, but the camera and the audience, we all see this person, and he's got this chicken pinned under his arm, and the chicken is just like like trying to get away, and he's like sort of singing to it quietly and like petting its little head, and he walks over. And he's got this chicken, and he's like, "I think this is yours."
Yes, it would. My friend here let it get loose.
I did no such thing.
It's a very important chicken.
He laughs and he kind of holds it out to you, and he's like, I have experience wrangling these things. Not chickens, animals. We had a cat when I was a boy. Here, and he holds it out, and he's got his like thumbs around its wings, so its wings are kind of pinned and like flapping, and so holds the chicken out to you, and it looks like it's ready to bite your face off, like it's got angry chicken head just like back and forth, ready to get you. Yeah,
I guess I just grab it as best I can while he's
okay. Yeah. So he passes you the chicken. He's like, if you hold it by the hold its legs, it'll flap, and eventually it'll just calm down.
I do so, yeah.
Wipes feathers off himself, and he looks you up and down, and he says, I haven't seen you before. What order you belong to?
We're new here.
I
kind of look at Azrael and just like, I'm messing with the chicken. I'm sure the chicken's like flapping around and stuff.
Sir, unfortunately we don't have time for idle chatter, but as promised, as he will give you your reward.
Yes. Like I said, a very important chicken. Here you go, sir.
Yeah, he puts both hands up, and he says, I couldn't possibly. If you have the gold to spare. He looks up the hill, and you can see what from here looks like a library. Like it's kind of open, and you can see inside, and there's like scroll racks on the main floor. There are various like people walking around with scrolls and books outside. He says, he looks up at it, and he says, you could donate that gold in my name if you wish, or your own. I'm just happy to help.
And what is your name?
He looks down. Well, I don't have one just now.
You don't have one?
How does one not have a name?
I'm just an initiate, you see. If you, if either of you want to make a religion check, to like look to piece the clues together to try to like preempt him, or you can like let him awkwardly try to describe to you.
What's your religion then?
1.
Yeah, me too. I guess I'll just do it.
You do with advantage if you're both
16.
You don't even need it. Okay. So judging by his robes, the markings on his forehead, he's obviously a monk. He belongs to an order of earth monks called the Order of Sacred Burial, and part of their initiation is like they do a funeral for the life they led before they became a monk, and then they go through a period of mourning where they're no one. They're like ghosts for a year. So he's in the middle of his ghost phase essentially. So he's no one. He has no name.
Of what order was it? Earth gnome? Something? What gnome?
It's an earth sect of monks, the order of Sacred Burial.
And I'd be able to know this by his like robes. Is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
you recognize it by the robes. The fact that he says he doesn't have a name, and that he has the like marks on his forehead that indicate who he is.
I guess, and then after I guess saying like, oh, you have no name, and Ezra saying that, I'm just like,
you can see. I mean, I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it explicitly, but like he's a water genasi, though he's part of an earth order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I'm just like, interesting. Earth sect, hey? That's a bit odd for you. What made you come here?
He laughs. He says, to be honest, I came here with my sister. She's more properly aligned. And you can see immediately, like right there, a whole family history of like rivalry, and like she's better than him, and he like, they're twins, but she's doing something right and he's doing something wrong. Like there's a lot of complex stuff that just like immediately comes to the surface just in that statement. And he's like, I came here with my sister, but I've found my place.
I'm sure you did. I can imagine what family gatherings were like for you.
He shakes his head and he says, my sister is the only family that I have.
Well, large or small, I can imagine you've had your fair share of licks in from your sister verbally.
He nods and he says, he says, more than you know. And I think he looks over at Azrael like, oh, is this your brother? Like, is that how you know this? Like, he gives a kind of look over at him.
I will say this to you. You may not be in agreement with your sister at always, but please value her. You won't know what she means to you until she's gone.
He nods and he says, you're not familiar with how my order works, are you?
No, unfortunately, I've not studied the ways of the monks.
It's fine. It's just, well, she won't be my sister for long. We give all that up. When the new year comes, we'll be connected by blood only. I love her, but the order comes first.
If this is what's important to you, then by all means, go forward. Stay focused.
He puts his hands in front of him and like bows respectfully to you. And it's the gesture like you recognize as like between equals. It's a bow of sort of lateral respect. And so he bows to you, and he says good luck with your chicken.
Yes, I fear we'll need it. Maybe he'll get away again. And I just, he chuckles to himself.
Holding it, and it's kind of squirming around your hands.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and then he heads off to go and return to his brothers and sisters, whatever he was doing. And then I assume that you are going back to the.
Yeah, we go back to the inn.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right. So you head off into the crowd, and let's take a break here.
Great. Got 2 hours to go. We'll come back and see what happens which is turning out to be a fun RP experience so far with these 3 characters.
Yep.
So we'll come back and do some more. 2 hours left for Court of
Chickens,
Swords. Do what?
That fucking chickens, man.
It's true. It's true. We'll be right back after this break. We'll see you then.